The town of Ravenshire was old. Ancient oaks lined its twisting lanes, their branches heavy with secrets. Nestled amongst them was Amelia's shop, its windows glowing with warm light. Amelia was Ravenshire's dollmaker. Her creations were legendary. Each one was crafted from the finest porcelain, their features painted with breathtaking realism. People whispered that Amelia breathed life into her dolls. They swore they saw them blink, their chests rise and fall with silent breaths. Children clung to their parents, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. But Amelia just smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. She called it imagination. Some were playful, their faces etched with mischievous grins. Others were serene, their eyes reflecting a wisdom beyond their years. But they all shared one thing in common, an unsettling lifelikeliness that drew people in. Then, one day, Amelia vanished. She was gone, without a trace. The townsfolk whispered about her disappearance, their voices hushed with fear and speculation. Some said she had run off with a traveling merchant. Others claimed she had been taken by the river, her body swept away by the relentless current. The shop fell into disrepair. Dust gathered on the shelves, cobwebs draped the once bright fabrics. The dolls remained, their painted eyes staring out from the shadows. But their beauty had faded, replaced by an unsettling stillness. It was as if they, too, mourned the loss of their creator. Years turned into decades. The memory of Amelia faded, becoming the stuff of local legend. But something lingered within them. Lily stumbled upon the shop one rainy afternoon. She was a curious child, drawn to forgotten places and forgotten things. The shop stood at the edge of town, shrouded in mist and overgrown with ivy. Its windows were dark, the paint peeling from the weathered wood. Curiosity got the better of her. She pushed open the creaking door, a cloud of dust swirling around her. The air inside was thick with the scent of decay and something faintly sweet, like old perfume. Lily stepped inside, her eyes widening as she took in her surroundings. Dolls of all shapes and sizes lined the shelves, their painted eyes seeming to follow her every move. Some were dressed in fine silks and lace, their tiny hands clutching porcelain flowers. Others wore simple cotton frocks, their faces etched with expressions of childlike wonder. Lily reached out a tentative hand, her fingers brushing against the cold, smooth cheek of a doll dressed as a ballerina. The shop fascinated Lily. One evening, as the sun began to set, Lily was playing in the shop when she heard it. A faint whisper, barely audible above the creaking of the floorboards. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She listened intently, but the sound didn't come again. Lily tried to ignore it, but the whispers continued. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, soft and insidious, like silk rustling against silk. They spoke her name, their voices a chorus of whispers that sent chills down her spine. And the dolls. They were different now. Their eyes seemed to follow her every move, their painted smiles taking on a sinister cast. One doll in particular unnerved Lily. It was a beautiful creation, with flowing raven hair and piercing blue eyes, but its expression had changed. Driven by fear and a growing sense of dread, Lily began to research the history of the shop. She pored over old town records, her fingers tracing the faded ink of forgotten tales. She spoke to the town elders, their faces creased with age and shadowed with unsettling memories. Lily unearthed the tragic story of Amelia. She learned of the doll-maker's immense talent, her ability to breathe life into inanimate objects, but she also discovered the source of Amelia's sorrow. Amelia had a child, a beautiful little girl with eyes as blue as the summer sky, but fate was cruel. The child had been stricken with a sudden and fatal illness, her laughter silenced forever. Consumed by grief, Amelia poured all her love and longing into her dolls. She treated them as if they were alive. Amelia, driven mad by grief and seduced by dark promises, performed a forbidden ritual. She poured her very essence into her dolls, imbuing them with a twisted reflection of her own soul. She believed she was giving them life, but she was actually cursing them, trapping them in a purgatory of her own making. The ritual consumed Amelia, leaving behind nothing but a shell of the woman she once was. Her spirit, fragmented and corrupted, became bound to the dolls, her grief and rage festering within their porcelain shells. They became vessels of her pain, their innocent faces twisted into grotesque masks of vengeance. Lily realized with a growing sense of horror that she was not just playing with dolls. She was interacting with the remnants of Amelia's shattered soul. The dolls were drawn to her, their empty eyes reflecting her own loneliness and vulnerability. Amelia saw in Lily a chance to relive her own tragedy, to twist another innocent soul with her pain. The dolls began appearing in Lily's dreams, their painted smiles replaced by menacing snarls. They whispered to her in Amelia's voice, their words a chilling litany of despair and vengeance. Lily's world contracted, shrinking to the confines of her nightmares. One by one the dolls left the shop, their tiny porcelain feet clicking against the pavement as they made their way to Lily's home.